Well, it's within each country, you have
Yeah,
a fixed size market. In the United States, of the 327 million people, your market might be 50 million for whatever product or service you have, even
yeah,
outside of the mining industry.
yeah,
And in order to expand,
yeah,
they go into other countries' markets. And
yeah,
of course, China and India represent much larger in terms of population,
yeah,
much larger markets. So companies like Apple,
yeah,
if they want to increase their sales,
yeah,
they have a limited market. The U.S. used to be
yeah,
a large market by itself, but now with more and more wealth in China and in India, more people able to buy smartphones and automobiles and nice television sets. The electronics companies, a lot of the manufacturers or brand names actually, the brand names in America would go after international business. Likewise, even in China, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Alibaba recognized, wow, well, let's go after some of the international business because they already have a lot of business within China. So
yeah.
it's another way to expand their markets, to spread their risk. Lots of reasons why they would expand into international market.
Yeah, actually, for international trade, it can we can use employ it to explain a lot of phenomena in the society in or globally. Now, maybe I can ask one question. I'm not sure you are very knowledgeable of history, international history, and international history. In China, there is there were two very important words. That is opium war, opium one and opium two. Do you know this? Opium means
I know
easily yeah, opium.
opium, but
Yeah, yeah, addicted, very easily addicted. Now maybe we
yes,
can ask
yes.
our audience what kind of a reason, what kind of a reason caused the happening of World War One and World War Two in China and which year？那么就是鸦片战争，第一次鸦片战争和第二次鸦片战争爆发在哪一年？是什么原因？Maybe you can have an interaction with all of our audience。我们跟所有的观众呢一起可以互动一下。鸦片战争是第一次和第二次鸦片战争发生在哪一年？是什么原因导致的？Because it's entirely related to we can use it to explain the trade war between China and United States and all of the international trade. So that's why here I ask one question to our audience. 也欢迎大家做转发以及打赏，就是给大家30秒钟的时间。第一次和第二次鸦片战争发生在哪一年？是什么原因导致的？Okay, 20 or 30 seconds. Yeah. 帮我倒点水。Okay, here I'm not sure somebody maybe have different answers. I can explain a little bit to all of us. We know the World War One and the World War Two happened respectively in 1940 and 1942. Yeah, a very long history. I can explain why it happened. Now, as long as know the history, we will know the trade war, the reason of the trade war between China and the United States, and we also know the international international trade. Now, firstly, at the very beginning, we know since Tang Dynasty and Song Dynasty, China became very rich and prosperous in all over the world, and the reason that China is called China because China produced a lot of China, and also a lot of silk, and so China was very developed at that time. So a lot of foreigners came to China to buy China's silk, and that is why Silk Road produced silk and China and etc. And gradually, China can Chinese people could make a lot of money, and later these especially the people from UK found, oh, it's not good enough. We shouldn't our money was almost stolen by Chinese. Actually, this is a trade, international trade. But later they want to change the rules. We cannot, we couldn't afford so much money to Chinese. So they planted a lot of opium, marijuana in India and other countries, and then they sold the marijuana to China and opium to Chinese. So gradually, these UK people British Kingdom, they could make a lot of money from China, and China gradually lose money, and a lot of people had the opium and couldn't work energetically. So gradually, that is Lin Zexu. The emperor asked one top leader Lin Zexu to deal with it, and that's why the international business they want to depends on who want to make more money. Later we will introduce two concepts: 贸易顺差, 贸易逆差. So that's why it happened. Nowadays in China, the trade war between America and China also the same. That's why President Trump wants to increase the tax, the tax fee. So today we will. It sounds like historical history. Actually, it involved. We can use international trade theories to explain what's happening. Okay, now today we will section 1 modes of international business. Section 2 international trading environment. Section 3 general procedures of import and export transaction. And section 4 introducing the parties to import and export transition. So the first part we what's the international business. All commercial transactions, private and governmental, between two or more countries. Private companies undertake such transactions for profit. Governments may or may not do the same in their transactions. Okay, Joe, would you like to explain why private companies and government companies are different? I mean, some may for profit, some not for profit. What's the reason? Can you make some explanation?
Well, particularly with government, you might have heard the expression in English where we say you can't run a business like the government, and you can't run a government like a business.
Right.
There's two different objectives.
Okay.
The government's primary objective is supposed to be its people.
Yeah.
And you can't. That is not the same as profit. It's just not.
Right.
And for companies that are accustomed to putting profit above everything, being able to make decisions about people, it's difficult. If you put decision making about people always in the terms of money, then a lot of times people lose out. They lose because from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense. from a human being perspective, something can make complete sense. And an example of that is in the U.S., privatized healthcare,
Yeah.
and in other countries, a more government-run or socialized or just universal, goes by different names, different structures, but a healthcare system that is not privatized. And you can see the difference in cost per procedure.
Yeah.
You can see the difference in wait times. And people debate this
Yeah.
all the time to say which one is better. So in my mind, a government primary role is for the people, and sometimes cost is, it's never too high. Like with right now with the virus, China as a government says
Yeah.
we don't care how high the cost,
Yeah.
whatever the cost to protect the people.
Yeah.
If imagine if the government said, no, 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 we want to run like a corporation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know, sorry, Joe, you're sick, but you're not profitable. We will let you die. That's not the role of a government.
Okay.
So yes, now private company, it depends. You have private companies that they have no responsibility to public shareholder.
Yeah.
So they don't care really about financial analysts. They don't care about stock market up and down. What they care about usually is whatever the focus of the owner or the founders is. It might be humanitarian. It
Yeah.
might be, service oriented. It's difficult to say. Each company will be different, but uh, they only report to the people who own it privately. So companies like that can be, a blend, an interesting blend
Hmm.
of humanitarian and profit driven.
Yeah.
But the moment they go public,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
any private company, the
Yeah.
moment they go public, the very first thing in people's mind is, uh-oh, they're going to care more about profit than people, and they will never be the same again.
Okay.
And
Here, yeah.
that's what usually happens.
Yeah, yeah. Here I can also make some explanation. About 20 years ago, China was trying to apply to be a member of WTO or and World Trade Organizations members, and we can say in the very beginning. I remember at that time still President Clinton refused the Chinese people just because they thought it is we can say in China there are a lot of state-owned companies. So in President Clinton's opinion, all of these state-owned companies' behavior sounds like not as a normal company, like national capitalism, 国家资本主义. So he was trying to refuse China, but finally still agree with China government. And even in the past 1 decade, I have been frequently gone to different countries to have been in these countries to participate in some international conferences, especially in Canada, United States, and African countries. A lot of investors or a lot of mine owners are not willing to cooperate or collaborate with Chinese state-owned companies. Do you know why? One is the procedure seem very complicated, a lot of paperwork, and the other reason is the efficiency is very low. The third is for some companies they think, oh, this is country behavior, national behavior, not a company. So they may not easy to win finally. So that's why sometimes if we are just private companies to do private companies just for profit, so it's easy to do trade. Companies that means trade. But if you are a nation maybe not only for trade but also for something else.
Yep.
So in order to avoid something happening bad, something bad happened. So the more mineral companies or even some giant mining companies from different countries are willing to collaborate with Chinese private companies instead of the state-owned companies. So that is why we say governments may or may not do the same in their transactions. Sometimes seem like they want to make money, sometimes not. Maybe for certain strategy, even lose money and cause some damage. Doesn't matter. Strategically, we should do that. Consider the long-term national benefits. So sometimes that kind of a transaction, not only for benefit, why governments may or may not do the same in their transactions. Yeah, it's different from private companies. And here, most of international business, why companies engage in international business? One, expand the sales. Higher sales may mean higher profits, assuming that each unit sold has the same markup. So increased sales are a major motive for companies' expansion into international business. Many of the world's largest companies derive over half their sales from outside their home countries. Can you tell us some stories about this point? If not yet, let me. Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, what we were saying earlier is that depending, China is a great example because the market is so much larger than pretty much any market. India has a lot of people, but they don't have quite the same number of middle class and wealthy that, or at least not yet, as China. And so China is sort of the golden goose, we would say, in business, right? So it's an example of if a company anywhere in the world wants to dramatically increase its market share, and pursuing in China is potentially worthwhile. So long as they get into industries maybe where they're not competing with, for example, state-owned. Because that kind of competition would probably be difficult. But yeah, it's just a matter of the companies recognizing a large potential other market. Trying to find a way to get into that market profitably.
Yes, and here I can also tell some stories about my former company. In 2006 and 2008, I also part-time working. I also part-time worked for the globally largest mining company BHP Billiton, and I prospected for porphyry copper deposits for many years. And up to now, BHP Billiton, now the name renamed BHP, only BHP. BHP was still the largest company all of the world, and in more than 100 countries, there are some branch offices or branch companies, and Rio Tinto and Valley and Barrick a lot of giant world mining companies have branch offices. So when the company was large enough, or the corporation is large enough, even when it was negotiating with some countries, these small countries cannot compete with him. So he has more advantage just because his company was very very rich. I remember even one case happened 4 or 5 years ago in Canada. There was a potash project. The government feel very painful because BHP was so strong that even the government have no right to do business with them. And so here I want to say, even for nowadays today, some of our audiences are translators. If we do some business, no matter mining projects or translation projects, if we go to different countries, we will find that the market is extremely huge. For example, we can use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or something else to enlarge our international businesses. So I think expand sales. This is one of the very important reason for international business. Okay, and we also talk about the second is acquire different resources. Sometimes not only for just go we mentioned about expand sales, but also acquire different resources. Manufacturers and distributors seek out products, services, and components produced in foreign countries. They also look for foreign capital, technologies, and information that they can use at home. Sometimes they do this to reduce their costs, sometimes to acquire some not readily available in its home country. Okay, Joe, would you like to talk about this point?
Well,
yeah.
I'd like to add one.
Yeah.
Sometimes and I don't know if you see this happening a lot in China as well,
Yeah.
but another tactic for acquiring these companies is to kill them. So, for example, yes,
Yeah.
let's say Microsoft has a competitor, and it's
Yeah.
a very good competitor.
And Huawei is the same.
Good.
Huawei nowadays a lot of countries are using their products, and some countries, oh no, we don't need Huawei is too strong. We should kill it.
Yeah, they will buy a company
Yeah.
just to take the product off the market.
Yeah.
So, big companies with very deep pockets have the ability
Yeah.
to crush their competition through through acquisition of resources, not just to scale
Yeah.
and get better cost benefit,
Yeah.
but to simply kill their customers' business. Some will, underprice.
Yeah.
Just like Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart is famous
Yeah.
for coming into your community, into your neighborhood. They build a store.
Yeah.
Then they cut their price lower than
Yeah.
any local shop for many, many different products
Yeah.
until those shops are dead. And then they raise their prices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so big companies have all sorts of strategies that they can use. If you, let's say, they say to you,
Yeah.
I want to acquire Suntrans,
Yeah.
and you say no. Their next thought is, well, should we kill them?
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately the bigger the scale, the more powerful you make the company.
Yeah.
And customers don't realize
Yes.
that the more they give their money to one company,
Yeah.
the powerful they make that company. And each year, that company becomes more difficult to beat, replace, or compete with.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful as consumers about the way that we see these companies. But
Yeah.
yes, acquisition,
Mm.
there's many reasons why they might try to acquire additional resources.
Yeah, here I want to explain. Just ago, you mean hostile takeover, hostile takeover. That is,
Hostile, yeah, yeah.
yes, a hostile
Hostile takeover.
takeover. And
Absolutely.
here, because today maybe a lot of people are from mining industry. I can take one example. That is because I'm very very familiar about three countries, so three companies, and their top leaders, I know all of them, and where one in past many years, I think almost everyone know one person is from Swedish. His name is Magnus. This is a very famous professor and geologist and the founder of raw materials. Raw materials is Sweden, Sweden mining companies do mining consulting, and we maybe about 10 years ago, I knew the founder, professor, and the president Magnus, and later his company, because he had a very huge data about mining industry, and his competitor, Metals Economics Group from Canada, purchased his data, his and yeah, and when he bought his data, and then they took that useless, just discard it, and ask you couldn't use it anymore, and so the professor felt very painful, and not it has nothing to do about money, just because he runs the data about he collected the data more than 20 years, very very important, but these guys purchased his data and just want to kill him, kill the group, and later Metals Economics Group from Canada was purchased by the other one. That is a very huge company. That is S&P 500. S&P 500 is a very, very huge international company that is from America, and so that is sometimes the merger and acquisitions are maybe bring a lot of benefits for everyone, but sometimes just want to kill so-called enemies and or competitors, and sometimes international trade also for acquire resources, because for example in China produce a lot of rare earth elements, and during the course of a trade war between China and the United States, China was not willing to sell the real REE to the United States. That is, American was trying to get REE resources, and but China, oh, we are not good friends anymore, and no matter how much money you are willing to pay, I'd dislike to sell it to you. This is acquire resources before international trade. Very interesting, and also we have, yeah, okay.